Hi, I'm Natalie Garcia, Balanced Body Educator for Reno, Nevada. And we know as summer approaches, the heat can make it challenging to keep your movement practice. So we put together a little flow to help you keep moving while you stay cool. We'll be using the Oov as well as the Linum, which I've placed this in the fridge to keep it nice and cool for our practice. Hope you enjoy. All right, let's get started on the Oov. So we're gonna have a seat on the Oov, and you're gonna scoot the hips back down kind of towards the skinnier side of the Oov and place your feet wide and parallel for balance. We're gonna start seated up tall, so just get that length up through the spine and we'll place the hands behind the head. We're gonna scoop and just get that nice roll down, finishing in a little bit of extension over the Oov, and then exhale, roll up, really just trying to press the back into the Oov as you roll up as well. So just find that nice mobility here, rolling down and rolling back up. We'll add a little bit of rotation here and we'll go to a straight leg. So straight leg, you can give a flex to the feet and that'll help with some balance. We're gonna rotate this time and scoop through those abs and roll the spine down into extension again, and then roll all the way back up. We'll alternate to the other side. Rolling back down again, really just using the Oov to press your body into it, gives a really nice feedback there. So rolling into that extension, rolling back up. The pelvis is staying facing forward while the spine rotates there. So we get that little bit of mobility through the spine to start. We'll come down now here back to your bent knee, and we're gonna scoot the hips down so more of your sacrum is on the bottom of the Oov. So we're gonna get this nice support with the Oov and go back to our parallel bent knee with the hands behind the head. You can feel this little bit of space between the low back and the Oov, and we're gonna begin to tuck the tailbone to try to almost fill that space and stretch the low back. And then roll your hips up into that bridge, opening the hips at the top, and then same, try to fill that space of the Oov as you come back down. Push into that space, roll up, opening the hips, and roll back down. This is really about stretch and mobility, so go where it feels good. It's more about the mobility than the height here. We'll hold the last one here at the top and keep the torso stable as we drop one hip and then the other hip. You can kind of feel your hip dropping right over the side of that Oov and get a little bit of that rotation at the low back. And then roll yourself all the way back down, and we'll come all the way back up to seated, and we'll transition over to our side here. So we're gonna get a little more mobility, and we're gonna come down on the side of the Oov, and it may even feel like you're coming just slightly towards the front. We're gonna let our bottom arm support the head and bend the knees up in front. Our eyes are gonna follow this hand. So from this position, we're gonna take this reach forward. We're gonna allow the arm to come all the way up overhead and open to the other side, and then come all the way back up and over. So we get this nice rotation, a lot of shoulder mobility. And if touching the floor is not comfortable for the shoulder, lift the arm as far as you need to in order for that comfort. We just take one more nice big open stretch through the chest and the shoulder. And we'll bring those shoulders back to stack and come all the way up. And we're just gonna switch sides. You can just turn over. I'm gonna switch my Oov to the other side of the mat. And I'm gonna come back down just to balance out that rotation we just did with that stretch. So come back down. Remember, the bottom arm can just stay underneath to support the head and neck. And we're going to let that front arm come forward and take that stretch all the way back and all the way back in front. So we're moving through the shoulder, but also getting this rotation through that upper back. And we'll just take one more here. Just some nice mobility through the spine. And then we're gonna come back up and we're gonna move our Oov slightly. So we're gonna stay in side lying for a moment, and we're gonna rotate your Oov so the wider side is towards your hip here. And we're going to extend the top leg out. So from this position, we're going to kind of hold the Oov because it can kind of slide away from time to time here. So we're just gonna kind of hold it here as we begin this roll down and come all the way into this nice deep side support, getting a good breath through that rib cage. Then we're gonna slide that hand back behind the head and push into the oov to bring yourself back up. Again, feel free to spot that oov as you come down, putting that pressure on it. Take that nice deep side stretch and then push back into the oov to raise yourself up. Just one more like that. You can spot it if you need to. Take that nice deep side stretch and then exhale, roll all the way back up to tall. Let's repeat that on the other side. Same, you can rotate or just flip your oov to the other side. Remember, the bottom knee is bent here, the top leg is extended. Spot the oov if you need to. We'll roll the weight down onto the oov, go hands behind the head and find your deep side stretch. Then come back in, push into the oov to find that controlled sit up. So you get this really nice support, kind of opening you through the top body here. And then you have the help to push into that nice surface to come all the way back up. Just one more. All the way down, find that side stretch, and then exhale, come all the way back up to tall. Now from here, since we have the oov this direction, we're actually going to switch it to go the other way. So from this position here, let's go lengthwise. So I want the skinny side away from the body here. We're gonna come back up on top and we're going to let the body come all the way down. So now the bottom of your oov is kind of supporting the curvature in your neck here. So from here, we're in our parallel knee bent space, and depending on the neck comfort here, you can always support the head and the neck as well here, or hands at your side. So a little mobility through the legs. We're gonna slide the left leg out, keeping it on the floor. We're gonna open that hip, and then we're gonna come back to parallel. We're gonna alternate that leg slide with the other side. So just some nice hip mobility. Slide away, open and come in, slide away, open and come in. So everything else is just working to stay stable, and we just want that nice hip mobility while the oov is really supporting the curvatures in our spine. Once we get some hip mobility there, we're gonna go to a little wider stance in parallel here, and we're just gonna alternate a little bit of that knee drop into some internal rotation. So just nice and wide. Don't worry too much about controlling this movement. This is really about mobility and breath here. And just take that one more time on each side. And then while we're supported here, let's just go ahead and bring your hands onto your belly and take a couple of those big diaphragm breaths, since the body is really supported here by the oov in the back. So let's just inhale, let that belly rise and fall. And relax. Let's go ahead and come all the way up. Staying with the oov where it is, we're gonna rotate here into this all fours position. So we're gonna hold our hands on the wide part of the oov and walk back into sort of an all fours position here. And let's just move those shoulder blades together and apart. Just really feeling where they're at, letting the body drop and come back in. And then we're going to tuck the toes. I'm gonna scoot us forward just a tiny bit here, because I'm gonna tuck the toes on your mat in this all fours position, and we're just gonna come into a hover. We're just going to step out and then step back in. Just kind of opening and closing the hips, stabilizing the shoulders. Then we're gonna hold the plank, and I want you just to step one foot forward and find that little bit of a hip opener stretch. We're gonna step back and switch. So we're opening those hips in a little bit different direction here. And then just take one more on that other side. And then let those knees come all the way back down. We're gonna slide the oov towards us again, and we're gonna come all the way down onto your stomach on the oov. Again, you can kind of shift forward back to find a comfortable position, but we want the oov supporting the torso. We're gonna use the oov to kind of close us off from the front of the body to access some back rib breaths here. So we're gonna let the head rest down, forehead on your hands, and think of really taking a few breaths through the back and the ribs. So from here, inhale into the back of the ribs, and exhale, empty all that out. Inhale, open that back rib cage, and just take one more like that. and then slide the hands back in towards the body, just in front of the shoulders. And we're gonna rotate that torso up and find a nice extension stretch, and then just roll back onto the support of the oov. Lift through the chest and sternum, open the front body, and lower back down. We'll just take one more like that, and coming all the way back up, and relax yourself down. You can push yourself back onto those knees and take a quick round back stretch after that extension. We'll go ahead and come down, and we're gonna make a little bit of a switch. We're gonna get rid of the oov for a moment, and we're gonna come into use the Linum pad here. I have this nice and cold, which is so refreshing. We're gonna start on our back with the pad on our chest. So from this position, go ahead and come all the way down onto your back and just bring that nice cool pad right up onto your chest. And from this position, it's got a little bit of a weight to it, so it can kind of help us to quiet the chest and let the body settle into the mat. And from here, we can have our hands gently on our abs, and let's go back into that diaphragm breath. Let's let the belly rise and fall. We're gonna let that pad slide down now to the front of our hips. So go ahead and bring the pad down right on the front of the hips. Again, that nice cool pad, a little bit of pressure, which gives us just a little bit of nice feedback. And it feels so nice to just let the weight kind of settle the back body into the mat. So from this position, we're going to place the heels in line with the sit bones in parallel. And with a flat back, we're just gonna exhale, press the hips up, getting that nice stretch through the quads and hip flexors here, then hinging at those hips to land back down. So we're gonna flat back rise, and we're going to inhale, lower. And then let's flat back rise, and lower. Just nice and stable, nice and cooling here. Now we're just gonna make a little bit of a switch, and we're gonna take the pad to let it cool us off in the upper back a little bit. So now I get to roll back down onto that pad from here. Okay, with that nice cool pad now underneath your shoulders, we're gonna go into that round back bridge. So heels in line with your sit bones in parallel. Tuck the tailbone and roll the spine up towards the ceiling, getting that nice open hip position, and then roll right back down to your neutral. Tuck that tailbone, roll up. We put the weight on that nice cool pad under the shoulders, and then just roll back down again, just trying to get some nice mobility through the spine. We'll take one more like that. And then relax down into your neutral. Let's go ahead and roll all the way up. We're gonna switch our position here, and we're gonna turn and come into all fours. So from here, we're gonna take the pad and place it up onto our backs. So we get a little bit of feedback and balance here. That feedback is so nice, and of course that cool pad just feels so good. So from this position, we're going to just settle into our neutral. Nice wide shoulders, picked up through those abdominals. And while we hold the center line, we're just gonna slowly reach the opposite arm and leg away. And you can stay here with the hand and foot staying connected to the mat, or you can continue out and just give a little length and floating that arm and leg up without losing the ab connection. So same thing on that other side. If you decide to lift, try to feel like your abs are still holding that pad up on your back so you don't lose that core connection. We'll just take that last one on each side. And again, abs kind of pushing up into that pad. And then we're gonna come all the way down and switch that cool pad again. So we have a little bit of a slit in this, which is gonna allow it to give us some nice support up on the shoulders. So we're gonna place the pad on the shoulders here. And just, again, it has a little bit of a weight to it here, right? So we wanna feel that. We've got this nice cool spot on the back of the neck, the weight coming over the shoulders. We're gonna zip the legs together. And from this position, I'm gonna go hands on the shoulders, elbows out wide, flexing through the feet, and just gonna take that spine twist and rotate back through the middle. Take that spine twist and come back center. Rotate And again, it has a little bit of a weight to it, so it's just a little reminder to push up into that weight and help you to lengthen the spine. Last one each side. And then relax. Okay, you guys, almost done. We're gonna move to our prone position, and we're gonna let this pad cool us from the front of the thighs a bit. So I wanna bring the pad down onto your mat and let the front of the legs have some support here, closer down towards the knees. As the legs reach behind, we're gonna lift through the chest and find a little bit of extension, letting the weight of the body go towards that cool pad, and then lengthen as you roll all the way back out. Lift the head and chest, open the chest, get that nice stretch and opening through the front body, and roll back down. Don't go too high in this. You can always start with a wider hand, which means you won't land quite as high in your extension. And then of course, it's great to end that in a child's pose. And let's let the pad come to that low back as we widen the knees, stretch through the front of the arms, and just drop back down into that child's pose. And let the weight of the pad just kind of let the body sink into the hips. And let's take a few breaths through the belly here. And then go ahead and relax. Thanks for joining me for this Balanced Body video.